concubine village. The experiences of SEZ was promoted to nationwide after the 1990s, and recently they have got a new title. It is a very long title, Reform Experimental Zone with Integrated Infrastructure, so it's very long. The new title indicated that the special zone was turned from the simple and extensive economic zone into a more specific and intensive zones like this. So here you can find Shanghai, Tianjin, Shenyang, Chongqing, and Wuhan. Each zone has a specific commission designated by the central government. For instance, here in Chengdu and Chongqing, the special zone is oriented to urban-rural integration. And here in Wuhan and Changsha, it is oriented to environment-friendly and resource-saving development. So actually, the reform in China has many different segments. And originally, it is totally messed up in a very chaotic situation in Shenzhen. But finally, after the 1990s, especially after 2003, all the special zones designated in different territory of China has a specific commission according to its geopolitics, domestic geopolitics. So with the new special zones coming up, Shenzhen was not special in anymore in economic policies. So Shenzhen is not only the first SEZ in 1980s, but also the first city facing this problem of export-oriented economy. As one of the PRD's water factory cities and shortage of land, because Shenzhen, when Deng Xiaoping crossed out the territory of Shenzhen, it is very, very small. That is the background behind the recent Shenzhen Biennale, renowned for its urbanism and architecture approach. And by the way, it is also studied simultaneously with Anyang's APAP in 2005. And also, by the way, here I show you the mayor of the Shenzhen and the vice mayor of Shenzhen. Actually, they are in charge of the Shenzhen Biennale, and recently they are all in jail, in prison, because of the corruption reasons. So in this recent diagram, describing the history of China's sustainability, I listed two directions of civilization that are oriented to different terms of four great inventions in ancient China. As you may know, the four great inventions is actually paper making, moving type printing, and gunpowder and campers. And I divided them as cultivation and militarization. And cultivation actually ultimately leads China into a very cultural industry-oriented country, which lay a lot of emphasis on the handicraft industry, but never launched its industry revolution as British did later. And militarization, gunpowder and campers, which actually oriented to wars and colonization, was actually borrowed by the Europeans, and it had resulted in thousands of years wars, and later on globalization and colonization. However, China met with all these conditions from European, from the West, and finally lead up to the biggest change in the world in the last century. And cultivation and militarization, in which a cultural industry shows more sustainability than technological industry in coping with the crisis of space. The crisis of space, I mean the shortage of land and the shortage of resources. So it's actually the exhaustion of resources, and also the crisis of time, especially this, the global financial crisis this time is actually because of the exhaustion of future. So here, Shenzhen is therefore also the first city facing the opportunities of shifting its developing mode from extensive to intensive, implanting introversive, creative, or cultural industry into its extrovertive industries and urban fabric, and redefining what is a special zone as a frontier in China's national strategy. The diagram shows how Shenzhen was generated as a borderline city and how a new special zone could be generated if something special can be regenerated in a new special geopolitics context. So here used to be the borderline of mainland and Hong Kong. Shenzhen is actually a city generated in between. So the borderline become a double borderline, a walled city. And now we can generate a new walled city within the first frontier, the borderline. So it is in the Shenzhen Hong Kong Biennale 2007, we were fictionally assignated a piece of land here. This is a project called Urban Void, and our approach, our proposal, it is called Special Intelligence Zone. This land is very, very special. It's historically very special, being a land with its ownership belonging to Shenzhen and the management right belonging to Hong Kong. In one word, it is enclave. It is actually a flying land. For many years, it has been highly controversial how to develop the site into urban model or urban engine. So here you can see the different proposals, including the Shenzhen Hong Kong Economic Circle, Shenzhen Hong Kong International Metropolis, Shenzhen Hong Kong High Tech Corridor, and the sister twin city something. So my proposal is actually based on our judgment on what is the specialities of the two special zones. Which is called SEZ, Special Economic Zone, and SAR, which is Special Administrative Region. So in Shenzhen, it is actually the high-tech with the support of a military department and intellectual immigrants from the northern China. You know, in PRD, most of the cities are actually dominated by Cantonese, which is the local resident. But Shenzhen is actually an exception with all the northern Chinese immigrants, who are less conservative in creations actually. And in Hong Kong, it is highly developed financial system and its modern education system. So after China's joining into WTO in 2001, economic borderline is no longer special. However, China is still enclosed country with an education borderline. And you can also say it is an ideological borderline. So if you are a university, you cannot set up any branches in China, only studios without any qualifications. So new specialities on this could be experimented, which is perfect for the Shenzhen-Hong Kong collaboration. So we literally borrow the format of checkpoint. This is the checkpoint of Huanggang, a cluster of flows staggered at a critical point at the borderline.